Good afternoon. This is Blender 2.5 beta, and today we are going to do some 3D motion tracking. So let's get right into it. Delete your default cube, camera and lamp. Go to video editing. Add your respective footage. Make sure it's set to 1, the starting frame, and add movie strip. And once you have that, mine is a terribly long footage. I'm gonna set the starting footage, the starting location, actually 10548. That's where it starts, but of course you are gonna have your own footage. And once we have that, make sure it's set to the appropriate frame rate, frame number I mean. So mine is actually 434. So I have my footage here. Actually it does not start from here, it starts from right here. So I believe it's 10579, something like that. Okay, anyways, let's ignore that for now. We'll get to that in a moment. So now let's go ahead and just render this out as an image sequence. And when I say image sequence, I mean something like PNG or JPEG or Targa. Either one of those. Those are the ones that Voodoo recognizes. Now go ahead and open Voodoo. Now Voodoo recognizes just image sequences. You cannot directly put in the video, and that's the reason why we started off with Blender rendering out our footage as an image sequence. Now once you have the screen, go ahead, File, Open, Sequence, Browse. As I never actually rendered out my thing. Actually I did render this out, but not right now. So here's what I had rendered out in the past. It begins right here, 10584. Okay, so 433 frames. Let's hit OK. There we have it. So that's our footage. Let me go back to Blender and just fix it because I screwed it up a little bit. So here it starts from 10584, not 48. Okay, so there we have it. That's perfect. Once we have that, I'm gonna come back to Voodoo here, Weaver. Just go ahead and hit track. But before we track, let me just make sure when you were hitting sequence, this was on free move. Now if it was just rotation on the tripod, then you can go for rotation and it's a lot more quicker, but go for free move for, of course, the camera movement. Hit OK. Just hit track. As you can see, Voodoo utilizes the principle that there are uses a principle of 3-point perspective, and the movement of all the points in that respective to that reference frame. It tracks it down. As you can see, it is doing it right now. And be a little bit patient with this because this might take an hour. For me it took 3 hours actually, but of course that's my slow computer. But just wait a little bit. You can do it this overnight. I've actually already tracked this, so I'm gonna hit stop tracking, but of course I've had, I suppose, 0.5% tracked. So I'm gonna show you how to save that. Of course, File, Save, Blender Python script. Of course we're using Blender. And as you can see, I have already have this .py extended files saved in the past, and this is the one that I'm actually going to use, tracks.py. For now I'm going to hit cancel, and when you hit save, you're going to see this dialog box. Hit export all because it's a lot more convenient. It takes a little bit more time, but again, it's totally up to you. You know, just do whatever you want. Now back in Blender, let's go back to default. Now here, let's go to text editor. Hit text, open, go back to the place where you saved it. Mine is tracks.py, and here I have it. Now the moment I hit run script, you see there's some kind of an error. I don't know what it is, but in order to fix it, just copy the script and go to this website right here. I'm gonna put a link in the description below. All you have to do is get rid of this and paste it right here. And hit fix. Once you have hit fix, just select all and copy this back. Paste it back into your Blender file. And now hit run script. And lift off. Here we go. So here's our actual 3D motion tracking points. What I'm just gonna do is bring this. So as you can see, we have an empty object right here, and everything is just linked to this empty object. So whatever I do to this empty object is not gonna impact the actual camera to points ratio. So let's just go ahead and rotate this. I'm gonna move this around a little bit and bring this onto the grid. Personally just makes a lot more easier to edit and add stuff into it. I suppose that's perfect. Good enough for my purposes. Okay, here we go. So here's our camera, if you can see it. Pretty small, but okay. Hit camera, and here we have it. So pretty much matches with my footage. If I can go back to the video editing, and if you look at this footage right here, so it pretty much matches my footage. I do have some audio in it. I'm just gonna delete the audio because I don't need it. So here's my footage. It matches fairly well. I'm gonna make sure this is 434 again for no reason. No, I mean there is a reason, because my footage is 434 seconds long, frames long. Let's go back to default. Okay, we have this. Let's just add a text into it. .90, and scale this up a little bit and move this to an appropriate location that matches our scene. Now let's extrude this for demonstration purposes. I'm just gonna write nature and hit Alt C to change this to a mesh. You can go back and change this to a text if you want, but it's totally up to you. Hit Shift A and go back to your footage. Make sure, look at the lighting. So you can see it sort of comes from right here, the sunlight. It's dim, but that's okay. Just go back to default, add Shift A, sun, and rotate this, to match. I'm sorry. Okay, Yeah, that's about it. You know, just an approximate guess. Now the moment you hit F12, it's rendering out the sequence. You're not gonna see this. So in order to see this, you have to go back to your video editing mode and hit add. Make sure this is on 1, and now hit add scene. Of course, move this to the second channel. Make sure it starts from frame number 1. Not so here we have it, but the question is, why isn't it showing up on it? Well, you can do multiple things. You can, you know, hit add. Now you can see it's over it. But again, this is not perfect. You can hit overdrop. Now that's more like it. Let's just hit F12 and see what does it look like. Okay. Now of course you can go back to default and add some background lighting as well. Just check this in and add your environment lighting a little bit. You know, just experiment around with that. Let's see, how does this look like? Yeah, more realistic. And of course go ahead and add some texture to it, sort of a little bit bluish, you know, to match with the eyes. Get it a little specular. Now since we have this here, let's just go to video editing and let me show you how to add some audio in it. Hit add sound. Now get whatever you want. I have mine right here. So bring it to channel 3 or whatever channel you want. So here we have the audio. Now the moment I hit play, you can hear the audio. Now of course, if you want to see the actually never mind. Now if you want to render this, what you've got to do is go back to default. Instead of PNG, choose a video format like MPEG. Once you have MPEG, go here encoding. Hit just see what you can do on your own. Yeah, make sure this is something like 256 or 192 or not. 32 is bad. It's just bad. Okay, go for MP3. And again, all of this, I'm not an audio expert, it's totally up to you. AVI Xvid. Perfect. Okay, once you have this done, just go ahead and hit Control F12. You're gonna have your video done. Now again, you can do this your own way. You can use additional softwares like Adobe After Effects and not render out the background, just a mesh. Totally up to you. So let me just render this out, show you what it looks like. Again, not perfect, but once you actually show the movement, that looks a lot better. So that's pretty much it. Have a nice day.